For rational equations, we're going to continue to find common denominators. Our common denominator for this problem is something you can multiply to get something that you can multiply each of these numbers and get is 99. So in order to get 99, you would multiply 9 times 11, you would multiply 11 times 9, and you would multiply 33 times 3. Because all of our denominators end up being 99, they'll cancel out and we end up with 55 minus 27 equals 3x. 55 minus 27 is 28. And we're just going to solve for x. So divide by 3. X equals 28 over 3. Our common denominator on this one is 21x. You would multiply 7 by 3x in order to get 21x. You'd multiply 21 by x, and you'd multiply x by 21 in order to get 21x across the bottom. 8 times 3x is 24x minus 20x equals 21. Go ahead and solve that. We have 24x minus 20x is 4x equals 21. Then just solve for x. X equals 21 over 4. Our common denominator is x. In order to get x on the bottom here, we'd multiply by x because there's just a 1 right here. So I'm going to multiply by x on top. We already have an x here, so this one's good. We need to, again, there's a 1 here, so we need to multiply by x in order to get the x on the top and the bottom. So here we have x squared plus 24 equals 11x. Now I can't just subtract this and get rid of anything, so what I need to do is put them all on one side and then factor. So I'm going to subtract 11x over. Now I have standard form, and I can factor. So what multiplies to 24 and adds to negative 11? X minus 3 and x minus 8. I'm going to set each of those equal to 0 so that I can solve. And then get x by itself, add 3. So x equals 3 and x equals 8. Our common denominator here would be 5x. So on this one I would multiply by x. On this one I would multiply by 5. And on this one I would multiply by 5x. X times x is x squared minus 25 equals 0. Here we have a difference of squares. So I have x plus 5 and x minus 5. Again, set both of those equal to 0. And then solve. So x equals negative 5 and x equals positive 5. Our common denominator would be 2t. I already have 2t here, so I'm going to leave that one alone. Here I need to multiply by 2, and here I need to multiply by 2t. I have 1 plus 6 times 2 is 12 equals 2t. 1 plus 12 is 13. Divide by 2. So t equals 13 over 2. Our common denominator is 14x. So in order to get 14x if I have 7x, I'm going to multiply by 2. Here I'm going to multiply by 7. And here I'm going to multiply by x. So 3 times 2 is 6, plus 7 equals negative x. 6 plus 7 is 13. That's negative x, so you have to divide by a negative 1, which would give you negative 13. On this one, our common factor is just these two things multiplied together. So x plus 5 times x. On this one, we're missing the x, so I'm going to multiply the top of this one by x and the top of this one by x plus 5. So here I have 6x, and then I'm going to distribute 5x plus 25. I'm going to get all my x's together, so I'm going to subtract 5x over here. 6x minus 5x is just 1x, and that equals 25. Our common denominator is x plus 5, and they both already have that. So really you just need to solve the top. X minus 6 equals 4. Add 6 to both sides. X equals 10. This one, we need to factor this one out first to make sure we have the correct common denominator. So if I factor out a 2, which is my GCF, or common factor, I'd have 2x minus 4. Now you can see that we already have those other numbers, so our common denominator is 2x minus 4. On this one, I'm missing the 2, so I'm going to multiply the top by 2. This one has both parts, so I don't do anything up top, and this one is missing the x minus 4. So now I have 2 plus 1 equals, distribute these, 3x minus 12. Add these together. Then I'm going to add 12 over here. Solve for x by dividing by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, so x equals 5. (41) is kind of similar. You need to factor this one out to make sure you have the correct common denominator. If I factor this out, I end up with x plus 6, x plus 4, which are the other two things that I have. So my common denominator is x plus 6, x plus 4. Here I'm missing x plus 4, and here the x plus 6. Here I already have the common denominator, so I'm going to leave it alone. Distribute x plus 4 plus 3x plus 18 equals negative 2. Combine like terms, so x plus 3x is 4x. 4 plus 18 is 22. And then solve for x. So I'm going to subtract 22. 4x equals negative 24. Divide by 4. X equals negative 6.